Good morning, everyone. This is a second video with our Vice President for Access, Equity, and Diversity, Jose Soto. We just did a video earlier on inclusivity, and this is an extension of that video to talk about how to stay connected, especially in this unique virtual situation that we're currently in. So with that, Jose, I'll let you kind of walk us through your thoughts from your expertise on how do we do that.
Perfect. I appreciate the expert status you've accorded me. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
And I think what makes me an expert is that I spend a lot of time thinking about this. So I do have a lot of thoughts about it, and I'll share a few of those. The last video, we had ended up with talking about forming meaningful connections with others. And again, embedded in that is relationships, whether they are face-to-face or in our current environment, online. And so what I'd like to do, I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, you know what? Let me make sure. Okay, there you go. You should have the ability to do that now. I had to change the setting.
Okay. Let me make sure that I can we're getting closer. And that was kind of our last point, forming meaningful relationships. And there's some research out there. A psychologist, Sherry Merkel, has done quite a bit of research on our online virtual environments that are created and how that is starting to affect us, and kind of think about what that means and how how we are more mindful about how to interact with each other. I think I got, for some reason, cut off.
Oh, okay. Well, you can just kind of tell us about it.
Yeah, I will. And the construct that Dr. Merkel had put together was about concepts of being alone and being together. Pre-coronavirus, it was you have a group of individuals, let's say students, they're all together in a classroom, but you walk in and everyone is on their device, so they're not really connected. They're alone. You have a group of folks, at the dinner table, and everyone is kind of on their device and together but alone. The post-coronavirus environment that we find ourselves, or the coronavirus environment, is alone but we're together. So folks are now taking opportunities to, in isolation of their home, their office, to connect with other individuals. So it's the alone but together. And the information that is important is we know that a gap does exist. We're not in the room with each other, but how can we close that gap of being alone, of being isolated, or in really connecting with our students when we are in that virtual world? And technology is a means to do that, and we have a lot of resources available to us on the internet, Zoom, Skype, cell phones. We don't necessarily need to be so isolated, and even though we are alone, we can be together. Another element is to make sure that we make frequent connections. Maybe on a daily basis. An example with the Access, Equity, Diversity staff, we started meeting on a daily basis, a very short meeting, just getting caught up, making face-to-face contact, seeing each other's faces. Now we're meeting Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and to share information, to share projects, to ask questions, and as important, to kind of find out, how everyone is doing, what's new in your life, how's your family. So making those frequent connections. And the last point, which I think is important, is to not wait to be contacted, to take the initiative to reach out. And that can be an email, a text message, a phone call, somehow, not waiting to be contacted. An example in my personal life was that I went through all my contacts on my phone, and the ones that I had been a while since I had contacted, I just sent them a very short message. How are you doing? We're doing well in Nebraska. These are trying times. I hope we'll communicate, over the next couple of months and get reacquainted, if you will. So those are the tips that I would have, whether it's within the office environment or the classroom, friends, family, colleagues. Use the technology that we have, make frequent connections, and take the initiative to reach out.
That was really good, Jose. I really appreciate those comments. As you were talking, I thought about a couple of things. And one of the things I thought about was I've heard the comment from multiple staff members and colleagues that they, over the last couple of weeks, doing everything virtually, they kind of felt like they worked harder than they've ever worked before. And I think a big part of that is one of the things that makes our work easier when we're face to face and we're in our normal work environment is we interact with one another. We walk and we have a cup of coffee and we go back to our work, but we have little micro breaks. And just being around people, there's a calmness to that. There's a little bit of a happiness to that when you take that out and you're sitting all day just Zooming, you it feels like it's a lot more work. I've heard that comment and I've kind of felt that myself. So I think it's important. One of the reasons I'm making these videos is to have those connections that you were just talking about. But I think from our students' perspective, there's a way to not only stay connected to your classmates and to your professor, but to your material. And maybe there's a way to kind of share your connectedness, because you have what I've noticed, you have a lot more connectedness now to your sort of material, your content, than you do your colleagues, unless you do exactly what you just said and be assertive and reach out. So I think it's really interesting to hear that comment, that why is work so difficult now? And I think it's because you just are submerged in it. And as humans, we need to give ourselves micro breaks and make sure we're staying connected to one another. I didn't say it as well as you did, but I think that I think you're spot on in how important it is. I really like the way you said, be proactive. Do not wait. And I would encourage everyone not to mind read. So if Jose doesn't practice what he just said and send me an email, I'm not going to say Jose's upset with me and is annoyed by me. I'm going to say Jose's just going through a long list of folks and I'm sure I'm going to be next on that list. So I think it's important, or I can say, you know what, maybe he just forgot. I'm going to send him an email or a text message. But that was great thoughts to be proactive in your connectedness. So with that, Jose, I'm going to stop this video. We did great. Anything else you want to add before we leave?
No, I think it'll be interesting as we get past this episode in our history and get back to the new normal. Look forward to that.
Perfect. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Paul.
Everyone, have a good morning.
You do the same. Thank you.